Well, that does happen, I guess. So, let us bust this stuff out. Just in case anybody shows up. Don't think I'm going to start talking and streaming until somebody actually arrives. Let me go get the giveaway. Zero point 0.0 watchers. Well, I guess that does happen. Huh. Quite frankly, I don't even know how to watch myself. That's very weird. I can see much. Oh boy. Hmm. Very weird. Well, I hope some people shows up. Oh, hey, finally have some viewers. We can get started here. Or at least a viewer. I'm not sure if I count as one of those or not. So, welcome to my stream. Today I'm going to be going over my audit of my collection, going through how I store things. You get a peek at what I've got. Or maybe not. All right, let's see if that got rid of all of my viewers. So let me know if you're out there and listening and can hear me. That'd be great. But I don't know what's going on with the video, though. Looks like my overlay is a bit laggy or almost non-existent. I don't know if I can kill something here to make that more better. I do not have the best video card on this computer. So if you're out there and watching, let me know. So we'll just go ahead and get started, I guess. If we have more people show up, I will be doing a giveaway from one of the random packs in here and giving away the mythics and rares that I open in it from one of the packs, not the entire box. So hopefully we get a couple more viewers and we can get a giveaway going here. It's not much of a giveaway when there's just one person that shows up, though I do appreciate you stopping by and listening. All right. I'll just dig right in. What is going on with my video playback here? That's no es bueno. Not sure why that is not showing up. So, all right. In my last video, as I stated, I usually put 2 rares in a single perfect fit sleeve. It'll fit them in there without stressing out the card or stressing out the seams on the perfect fit sleeves. I had stated last time that I don't like to put bare cards in these binders. I had some in long-term storage, and after years and years and years, I don't know if there was humidity or from the oils on my hands or whatever was on them, they started sticking to the surface of the plastic pockets. So I had some damage from that, and I will not put them in any kind of sleeve or binder without, I don't want to say sleeve. I don't want to put them in these binders or pages without first putting them in a sleeve. That seems to be a better way to protect them over time. Again, I go through the Wooburg method. Wooburg being on the back of the card, if you're not familiar. White, blue, black, red, green. Why is blue U? Because there were two colors that began with the letter B. And so they chose U for blue and B for black. Not sure who made that decision, but that's where you get Wooburg. White, blue is U, B, R, G. Wooburg. Also, the card order, the numbers that they put on them, correspond to white, blue, black, red, green, alphabetical. Then it goes multicolored, artifacts, and lands in their numbering order. So if you're using, like this is 143 cards, you start with the lower numbers being white and lower alphabetically, and you finish the set. Well, I don't have any of the, maybe I have one of the lands here in foil. Spoiler alert. I have foils. So as you can see, the number on the land, I don't know if you can see that, on this one is 140 out of 143. So the white lowest alphabet, rare. I generally only put rares, mythics, old school foils in these binders. And you'll notice that the white Blessed Reversal is card number 2 out of 143. And the Karmic Guide is higher alphabetically. So his number should be higher, and indeed it is. It is, when my eyes are bad, 11 out of 143. So that is the general organizational method that I use. And as we get into later sets, when they have fancier versions of these cards, hey, Ryder, thanks for showing up. If we get a couple more people, I will be cracking open this pre-release kit, pulling out one of the packs, and giving away the mythics and rares from one of these packs. So hopefully we'll get a couple more people going here. Let's say if we get at least 5 people in the stream, we'll go ahead and get the giveaway going at that point. So I'm just auditing through my collection. I'm not going to go back through everything that I just went through, but I just organize it under the Wooburg and card number order system. I stack generally 2 per sleeve because they'll fit without stretching out the pockets too badly. I noticed when I was putting like 3 or 4 in a single pocket that it made the binder way too unwieldy, and it kind of bulked up, and it really made it hard to close. So about 2 per sleeve, I'm sorry, 2 per, I guess you can just call it pocket, is the maximum that you want to use on these things. It also makes them bulge up and have this weird bend here if you put too many in. So I just don't want to ruin cards, bend them. I have too many sob stories. If you were here last week looking at like some of the legend cards that I had damaged from being in the 3-ring binders over the years. So Urza's Legacy is another set that has, reserve list cards in it. I believe the Radiant Archangel is one. I don't remember all the reserve list cards off the top of my head. I know that that's another reserve list card. I know the Palinchron is a reserve list card. Got some sob stories around Palinchron. I sold a foil one back in 2010 or 11 for $6. That hurt. I don't think No Mercy is on there, but it's a somewhat valuable card along with the Goblin Welder. So as you can see, I had really been invested in Urza's Legacy and Urza's Saga and Destiny way back in the day. That was my second go-round of getting back into Magic. When did you get into Magic? I don't know whether to call you Nick or Ryder. Well, at any rate, my second go-around, and I had a little more money than I did the first time through back in Fallen Empires and... I think it was Fallen Empires was the first one that came out. I don't know if Chronicles was around then. I'm trying to remember all the packs that they had sitting up on the counter. I know that 4th edition came out not too long after I got involved, but I remember the first release coming out after I got involved was Fallen Empires, and it was terrible. So it was much better second time around getting into the Urza's Nick Ice Age. Nice. I did get involved in my first tournament was Ice Age, the release. Loved it. Loved it. I actually saw a guy tear up a Chaos Orb at that tournament, and I can't remember. I believe that it was a big stink about him doing that, and I think the judge that was there said that was an illegal move to tear it up into pieces and shred it and drop it on the table. But I do remember him doing that. And I remember at the time saying, "Why would you tear up a $20 card?" So at any rate, Deranged Hermit's gone up recently. That's a decent one. I know that Maro Multani, Maro Sorcerer is reserve list, as I believe are the Weatherseed Tree Folk. Always loved the Beast of Burden. Karn is one of my favorite characters. Back in the day, this was one of the best rares, so I had a whole bunch of them. Played Green Stompy a lot back then. Which one do you love? Ice Age, or I'm not sure if you're referring to a specific card. Or the fact that the guy tore up a Chaos Orb at the tournament, which I didn't really even understand. I didn't have any Chaos Orbs. I got in after, like I said, after all those sets, Arabian Nights and Legends. Well, there were still some Legends. I did buy a couple of packs of Legends from the store. They only let us buy them one at a time. Ice Age was way better than Fallen Empire. I remember that, or Fallen Empires. But I had been in probably close to a year by the time I played that tournament. So it was interesting to go to a tournament. It's the first time I'd ever been to a tournament for games before. So it was a very unique experience. It was over in Okinawa. I think we did it at the USO. And there were a lot of, like, I don't know, kind of reminded me of a high school lunchroom with a bunch of tables around with the bench seatings. So that was fun. I enjoyed that. And I didn't play another tournament for a very long time. I don't think I played another tournament actually until Urza Saga released. I remember the memory jars when they came out, just like the Tolarian Academies. I was always fascinated with cards that got banned right away. And I remember Memory Jar got banned right away, and people were just trying to ditch them as fast as possible. It's unfortunate. I think I sold, I don't know, probably about 10 of these back in the day. Back in 2010. Long story there, sob story. Sold a bunch of cards to take my daughter to Disney after a nasty divorce, but I was able to hold on to a few of these, and I still have a number. These have gone up quite a bit lately. I just always thought that there was a reason that they're banning cards, so they must be good cards. So I did start collecting Tolarian Academies. I started collecting Memory Jars because they were cards that I could get that were banned. I never could get a beta channel. Never did really look at the white bordered cards, and everybody hated white bordered cards back in the early days. So did you start in Ice Age then? Is that what you're saying when you started? Ring of Gix. That Joker was the most expensive card in the set back when it released. Nobody likes it now. But I recently did pick up, I'll say this, a whole bunch of copies of Thran Lens. I can't remember exactly what it was that made me pick it up. There's a card that was released recently that I kind of speculated on. I think I had about 5 or 6 of these before. Did you go to the pre-release tournament for Ice Age? It's a small set, Legacy, but boy, I collected the hell out of it to try to get these. I was trying desperately to get a full set of the foils, and I don't remember exactly how many came in a box, but it wasn't many. Maybe like 3 in a box, maybe 4, if I remember right. They certainly were fairly rare. So I traded a lot of cards to get the foils that you see here. I haven't really purchased anything, and I did sell some off, like the Palancron. I sold a foil crop rotation for 1 penny. I sold Oh, what else? Oh, I sold my Fairy Enclave, the Treetop Village, all in foil. They're all going to be missing from here. We'll go through for the pains. I did hold on to my Mother of Runes, thankfully. That's still a decent card. I'll tell you what, though. Some of these cards I don't understand. Like, I think they recently reprinted this Angelic Curator, but it still didn't go up. I think they reprinted it in Modern Horizons 2, if I'm not mistaken. Along with, I don't have a foil version of it, but Karmic Guide, I think recently just got a reprint. So it's interesting that they're reprinting cards out of the Urza's block, along with, I've seen some Visions reprints. I would love to see them do a complete remastered of some of the older sets. They can avoid the reserve list cards that they want. But did you stay in through the Urza's block? Because you had some rough going if you got in around Ice Age, because Fallen Empires was bad. Ice Age was, it felt powerful compared to Fallen Empires and Homelands, but that was kind of a bleak time because you had Fallen Empires, Chronicles people hated. They hated Fourth because it was white bordered, completely powered down, no dual lands, no power. And I remember people complaining about Revised because it didn't have any of the Power 9 in it. So people generally just didn't buy a lot of white bordered cards in general because they were fairly well hated. You guys didn't get Urza's? You guys didn't get the Urza's block? Urza's Saga and Urza's Legacy and Destiny? Oh man. That's pretty sad if that's true. This was an amazing set to play during. I drafted heavily during this era. As you can see, I have quite a few cards. These are just the rares are here, and like I said, they're mostly double stacked up, and I've sold a bunch off, including all of my Grim Monoliths. You notice they are conspicuously absent here. They would have been right here. I sold 4 of those off, I think, for $20 for all 4. Ouch. So lots of sadness, but still I love my collection. I love having these cards. I am trying to repair my collection and trying to get some of the cards that I'm missing. I don't think I'm ever going to get a full... I know I won't, because I won't get the Grim Monolith for sure. That's just far too expensive. But these No Mercies are worth a few pennies. If you can ever get these old first printing cards, I don't know if it'll do it any justice or if they're kind of shiny. You know what? I'm going to go turn off one of my overhead lights here to try to cut down on the glare. I will be right back. Hopefully that won't be pitch dark. Oh boy. I think my self cam keeps cutting off. I'm not sure why. It just doesn't like to keep this portrait cam going for whatever bizarre reason. Well, I'll keep pressing forward anyways. So I don't know if that's any better, but I will try. Oop. These are absolutely gorgeous foils. I think they're a lot prettier than the modern foils. So I do kind of like some of the foil etch stuff that they do nowadays. But these really catch your eye when you're playing with them. And back in the day, we used to play with them unsleeved. I did not. They didn't have these nice penny sleeves back in the day. They had some very expensive, not Dragon Shield, Deck Protector, I think is what they were called, if I'm not mistaken. So Oh boy. This camera just, I got to get my technical issues fixed here. I tried last week and it just failed hard. I'm looking kind of transparent. You can see through my head. That's awesome. I'm just going to keep pressing on through the collection here. We won't be too terribly long today. And it still is exciting to look at these old school foils. So if you can get them while they're still out there and available, understand these are very, very rare. That's why the price points on these are super high. But there are still some that you can get. Even just having some of the common ones, I think, are going to go a long way in the long run, because these were not printed with anywhere near the rarity of the modern foils. So to get your hands on any of these is really kind of a treat. And if you can get them in great condition and put them away, and hopefully they won't cloud up on you. I don't know that I have a good example of where some are starting to cloud up around the black border, the cloudiness. I don't really see it. A lot of people complain about it, but I guess there might be some. People say that, oh, well, I just touched it like a dodo bird. But they say that there's a cloudiness that starts on this black border around these old school foils. I don't know if I can catch that at all. Because in the old school foils, they did not foil the actual picture or the text box. And I think the film will cloud up around the outside, because I think there's a complete layer of foil over the top of these things. I have a damaged one that came kind of cut from the factory, where it sliced the edge of it, and you can see sort of how they did the layering. I don't know where I have that card, or I'd pull it out. Giggity. So they've changed the technique on how they actually do foiling nowadays. And this thing is gonna fail on me as soon as I go back over to look. Oh, well, guess not a hyper interesting stream today. Not a whole lot of people wanted to stop by. Oh, well, before we get in here. So I did end up, I remember pulling this Joker back in the day. I was super happy about it. This was easily a $50 card back when I first pulled it, and I think it has just recently gotten back to that level. Now, I will say this. These I did just buy. These are not the set version of the card. These are the pre-release promos, which I don't know what happened to the one that I had. And I'm pretty sure the one that I had did indeed have the date stamp. These are kind of unique. These are technically a misprint. I don't know if you can see it on here or not. But there is no, here, just so I can show you the difference. So the misprint is on the, also curled, which is kind of weird, because this is the set one that I pulled out of a pack, and you can see that it's not curled, but the promo one is curled. Now I've already done the light test, I've already done the rosette test, and the red dot test on the back. But what you can see here is this has no set symbol and it has no date. And I will pull out, and well, maybe I won't. I don't know if I have another. I do have another one. A different old school promo where they used to put the date stamp here. I think they also used to put the set symbol on there as well. So this is just all kinds of misprinted, and I picked up recently in the last couple weeks all 4 of these promo versions. So I'm very happy to have them in my collection again. I am sorry about my overlay stopping. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to remove that from the stream here, because it's just strange to have it. So it's gone. We'll keep working on the technical pieces of my live stream here. All right. So hopefully it's not too dark. Do I need to turn some lights back on, or you guys can see the collection well enough, I hope? So, on to Urza's Destiny. Now, unfortunately, I did sell a few copies, so I think I only have like 3 left. I think there's just a single in this one. And I did sell those. Those are the most recent cards that I have sold. I generally don't sell cards anymore. I don't sell cards anymore, actually. I did sell off all 4 of my replenishes, so I was happy to pick one up again recently. Just got this one probably about 7 or 8 months ago. Kind of surprised that these didn't spike as hard as a lot of the other reserve list cards. I think it's an amazing card. I think it does something pretty unique. They did come up with another one recently. I don't remember what it's called. Treachery's also spiked recently. Donates another reserve list card. A lot of good cards in the Urza Saga, Legacy, and Destiny block. So I would really love to see it reprinted again. Just as like a maybe combine it all into a remastered. I think that would be an epic set. It was epic to play with these when they came out. And I think that people would love to play with them even today in a limited environment. So I think it would be amazing if they reprinted these Jokers and allowed people that didn't have the chance to play these sets to get at least some sort of feel for what it was like to play back in the day. Now, I did sell off all of my Elvish Pipers, so that is another one that I just recently got back into my collection again. I don't think I bought any of these others, just looking. I did try to pick up some Treacheries, but got outbid quickly on those. I tried to pick up some more Donates. I got outbid on those. Like I said, the Replenish is a recent replacement. A lot of these cards are starting to see some sort of play, or you'll see them going up from time to time on like Market Watch and that kind of stuff. I used to play the hell out of these Emperor Crocodiles. I thought they were a great card. They were my green Stompy deck. But that was kind of low costed. And nowadays it just doesn't seem like a great card because it has too much of a drawback where it's a 5/5 for 4. Back in the day, you know, that was really strong. Big creatures were kind of strong back in the day. And so we've really shifted into more tech decks. Even the creatures themselves have to be more technical now and do something technical like Snapcaster Mage or something of that nature. Where there was a lot of big dumb creatures back in the day where they would just have things like a 6/5 regenerating for 6 would seem super weak today. Nobody would care. Plow Under used to be a great card. I'm not sure how that kind of fell out of favor. It still seems like it does. You know, essentially what it is intended to do, where you put the 2 lands on top of their owner's library to really change the pace of somebody's game if you can get out ahead of them. Now 5 is pretty steep, but what it does is fairly unique. I don't know many other things that do that. It kind of screws them up in 2 ways. It sort of depletes their mana base, plus it slows them from drawing any other cards. So cards they've already drawn, they have to redraw again. So it's still a good card in my opinion. I don't know why it's not worth more, but it isn't. Orfellos is spiked pretty good. Junk Diver still prominently in use. I think the Masticore, which was a huge card back in the day, is starting to see some gain in value. I've always liked the storage matrix, though you'll hear other people say that they don't like any kind of storage mechanics to where you have to save it up and then spend it later on down the road. But it's kind of like a suspend mechanic in a way. Kind of similar, where it's a delayed action. The biggest difference is these stay out on the battlefield. And this one is, it's so long as it's untapped, instead of each player untapping permanents he or she controls during his or her untap step, that player chooses artifacts, creatures, or lands and untaps all permanents of the chosen type he or she controls. So that's not exactly which one I thought it was. But that's more like, I guess, like the Frozen Orb. There's Incubator's another very good card. You see it quite a bit in Commander, and it's well costed. Only costs 3. When it comes into play, you choose a creature type. So like elf decks and whatnot, you can get the cost just about down to nothing. Other big creatures, like probably the dragons, this would do very, very well to make their cost much less. I do have a Yavimaya Hollow in another deck, so I only have 3 of those. Never did get to my 4th one. And then these were the pre-release promo. So to my point earlier that I was talking about, where hopefully you can see this. See if I can catch it. It's hard to see. So you can see the date stamp here, and it does indeed have the symbols, the set symbol with it. I really miss that they do this. They do a very different one now where they just have the year 2021 up here. Don't really care for it. I really like seeing the date, the actual date for the pre-release on the cards. So you see that this one has a date stamp on it, and I remember trading for these. So on the day, I did get 4 copies of these. I don't know that you can see it too well here, but these, oh, this one clearly has it. I don't think this one does. So I think this is, you can see the difference between both of these. Let me see if I can catch it on stream. There was a common issue. Boy, it's really hard to see. You can see it a little bit here, where the foiling was split. You can see it right here, where the foiling looks different on the bottom half of the card than it does on the top half of the card. So you can see that fairly well on this card, like especially right there. You see the clear line where it's cut on both sides. So the foiling on the bottom half was different. And this card doesn't have that same issue. It's a consistent foil. I think it's what they do is they essentially have like a sheet like this when it's being cut, and you can see where one sheet stopped and the other one started. So I think there's some sort of, I don't know if you want to call it misprint value to these two-tone old school foils. You don't ever see that nowadays because I think the foiling method is quite a bit different. I think they print onto the foiling in the, like the card itself is foiled and they just print right on it, whereas this is a foiling overlay on top of the card. So these are a bit different. And that wraps it up for Urza's Legacy and Destiny. So it might be a quick stream today. We'll go through this pretty quickly here. And if you have any questions, you know, please ask away. All right, on to Mercadian Masks. There are no, this is the first set that does not have any reserve list cards. I want to make sure that, yeah, I think every card in here is a reprint target. I did sell off my Rishaden Port, but I do remember it was the first time they had foil disenchant, so I tried to pick up as many of these as I could find. People were willing to trade for them. There's a lot of great cards. I love Ivory Mask. I think it's a great card still. You cannot be the target of spells or abilities on an enchantment. I don't know what happened to my bribery. I think I might actually have one, but it's in a deck. I'm not sure. I know I used to have a bribery. I may have sold it. Who knows? But this was where the set started kind of scaling back a little bit. Was not as in love with Mercadian Mask, though I did play it quite a bit. As you can see, I have a number of cards still. A lot of these are doubled up, but I don't have nearly the amount. Boy, I remember that Nether Spirit being a problem, especially in Limited. At the beginning of your upkeep, if Nether Spirit is the only creature card in your graveyard, you may return it to play. So that was kind of awesome, especially if you could thin out your own graveyard. Not a lot of really high dollar cards here. There's some that are like 10, 20 bucks. I think the Squee Goblin of Bob, which I loved, he's another recursion type card. Kind of a unique one for the, at least he was back in the day, for the Goblin tribe. I did like playing the set. Food Chain was not nearly as popular back in the day as it is now. But again, like I said, back then, it was a lot more about the big, dumb creatures like the two-headed dragon. It would not have been hard to trade a two-headed dragon for a Food Chain back in the day. I did not play a whole lot of these in my Stompy deck. I didn't love them. I think that's recently a list card, even. Well, that seems like it should still be a decent card. Game Preserve. It's 3 casting cost enchantment. At the beginning of each upkeep, each player reveals the top card of his or her library. If all the cards revealed this way are creature cards, put those cards into play under their owner's control. So if you just load up with big, dumb creatures, or just big creatures, right? Wonder if Eldrazi would count that way and just get a bunch of Annihilators out there. That would be kind of sick. The Rushwood Elemental. That could get out of control pretty quickly, and it's only 5 casting cost. The Power Matrix back in the day, boy, if you got that in a draft, you were set. But you still have some of these ramp artifacts in there, which people didn't love back in the day, but they weren't bad. They are a little steep at 3, but they don't come into play tapped, and you can sack them for that additional mana if you absolutely need it. So if you're trying to get something out that's big fast, you can put this into play for 3. The next turn, you tap it and then sack it, and you get an additional mana of one of those colors. You know, that could work. You see, really missing the Rishadan Port. Still have my Dust Bowl, so got a couple of those in there. I did not collect the foils nearly as much. I did target the disenchants, as you can see, and these are only single stacked, I believe. I don't think I actually have 6 of these. I'm pretty sure these are 1 each. Yeah. I don't think I stack my foils. I think I single sleeve all my foils, especially the old school ones. The most expensive one I have here in this set is the Trade Routes. But boy, the Shock Troops back in the day, that was a big card. A lot of the old school foil lands, they're still beautiful in my opinion, with that old school border and foil. Didn't have that again until just recently now. And this is where I started losing interest back then, and I know exactly why. When we got into the Nemesis block, I did go to the pre-release for this one. This is the pre-release promo card for it. And it was because of net decking. Net decking really ruined my experience in Magic again. The first time around, you really didn't have the internet. So it wasn't as bad with the meta decks. But I do remember by the time I got to Nemesis, the internet was becoming more prevalent. This is, you know, in 2000. So it was starting to come on pretty strong, and you could find a bunch of net decks out there. Whatever was the most popular and most efficient. People were net decking like crazy. So I started losing interest in Magic at that point. This is where I started falling out of favor again. So I'd been in for a couple of years. I did get some more Prophecy. I did not go to the tournament for this one, as I don't have the Prophecy pre-release promo, whatever that may be. I'll have to look that up. I'll probably buy one. I did play some Prophecy, and I luckily enough, I think I picked up opened up 3 copies of Rhystic Study back then. Wish I had a whole lot more. Yeah, that would have been nice if I had gotten the a bunch more Rhystic Studies, but I didn't. But I still have 3, so I have enough for me. I opened them myself. And I would start picking up what you're seeing represented here. This one I did just recently purchase, the Aura Shards, because it was just such a strong card on MTGO. So I went back and got these later on. So I would pick up packs sporadically throughout the years, and you see that, you know, getting in Apocalypse, I've only got a few. And then what is that? Odyssey, only a few. Is that Judgment? Is that what that is? I'm not sure what that set is. I think it's Judgment. I picked up a few packs there. And you can see throughout the years, I just picked up a few packs here and there just to, it wasn't even consecutively either. It was just kind of very sporadic when I would strike the fancy to pick up a few packs, check it out, see what's going on. But I really didn't play during this era. Actually, I didn't play again at all until... Well, I did play on Magic the Gathering Online. But I still kept buying packs sporadically. Just because it's nice to crack packs and always has been. I hope it always stays that way. These are recent acquisitions just because Seedborn Muse is such a house. That's almost a don't play amongst friends kind of card. Have very few. Played the hell out of this on MTGO. Mirrodin. And that's probably the best Mirrodin card that I have. So what's that? Five packs I got. I did buy this. This is what is it? Dark Steel. I think that's Dark Steel. The Vidalcanori. I did buy that from my LGS recently. Been watching the Command Zone, and they've shown me that that card has some serious playability. I think a lot of these wizards I picked up in a wizard auction on eBay. So when you see a bunch of wizards in these sets, it's simply because I got an all wizard deal of a couple hundred wizard cards, all rare, for like $30 or something. I got like 600, so it was just a bunch of bulk. None of them really that fantastic, and maybe they'll hit, but it seemed like a pretty good deal. 600 rares for $30. This is, as you can see, is actually one of the list cards. A jank list card. That's 10 casting cost. We're about done for today. More wizards. And more wizards. So I was conspicuously absent for a good bulk of Magic from, say, 2006. Oh, God, all the way up to like 2013. But I was playing MTGO during that era. So that's going to wrap it up for today's audit. And unfortunately, we never got more than 2 viewers at a time here. It would feel awkward to crack a pack to just give it away. So all I can do today is say thank you for showing up. I will be here again next week, same time, same channel. I'll try to do it again next week and see if I can't advertise a little better and get a few more viewers. I very much appreciate you showing up so I wasn't sitting here talking to myself. And hopefully I can give away some cards next week. I think that would be very neat. So unless you have any questions, I'm going to go ahead and wrap up the stream at this point. Well, again, I very much appreciate everybody who stopped by today. Thank you very much, Nick Ice Age, for stopping in and chatting with me. I appreciate it. Hopefully you'll tune in again next week, 3 p.m. Eastern, same channel. So everybody have a great day.